All right. So today what we're going to do is we're going to obviously go over the material that Ignite instructed us to teach, and yet we're going to input the personal, ahas moment, what works for my client that when I go for a listing consultation and stuff like that. And obviously you need to make sure that when you start your pre-listing package, you make it your own. Just use the basics and then you make your own. Oh, Roxana! Okay. So Jessica, I believe she's almost done with the material and stuff. Okay. So very first important thing, tell me a little bit what you guys feel that for a seller, what is important for a seller when they're thinking about selling their house?
The bottom line.
Bottom line. Okay. So when they talk about the bottom line, Eric, what is it? How should we get to know about their bottom line? What is the question that you would ask?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. Anybody?
I would ask them what they think they should get for their home.
Okay, and keep in mind, whenever you ask us, at bottom line for sure, it's all about money. If they're selling, there is a reason behind they need the money, either to move, to get done with the debt, they can't make the payments, or whatever the reason is. Either it's upsizing, downsizing, job transfer, or they need money. They cannot afford to make the payment. So when it comes to the bottom line, that's all the time you need to keep in mind. When I started off of these. Now my listing consultation right now is all more personal. It's all more genuine. Okay, how they feel. Because you have only a few seconds in the first 5 minutes when they're probably gonna make a decision, okay, does this person, the realtor, does carry that professionalism, personality, and experience, where we could rely on our biggest asset of our life for sale. So very important thing is you need to make sure that you guys are confident all the time. Keep your clients' motivation in front of you. Because at the end, I know there are a few, commission is one thing because we are in a profession where we, always have that commission breath to make money. But keep in mind, that will haunt you all the time if you keep your commission up front. You need to verify, okay, what is it that your clients want? And commission gonna follow you. Very important, it's all about money. So when Eric mentioned the bottom line, yes, you need to, very important thing that you need to know is, okay, how much is it that your clients owe on the house? What they think that their property worth. None of the seller will ever say that, oh, you know what, my house doesn't, my house worth less than what the others in the market is. They always have that expectations upright. Your goal is to make sure first, find out what their bottom line is, and second, to educate them the bottom line that they're talking about, is it realistic? If they want 300K out of the house and the property only has 200K, there is no way that you can do anything about it unless you educate them and come up with options. What is it that they should do in order to make it a win-win? Keep in mind, one of the Keller Williams culture is win-win or no deal. Sometimes you are going to get stuck in a situation where maybe you end up taking property that is way higher than what the market is. I did. And the reason being, I educate my client. Correct. Go ahead, go to any other, whosoever you're going to interview, they're going to use the same comps. The point is, if you are not realistic, there is no way, the chances are even less than 1% that you will get more than what the actual market worth for your property. So I'm not saying that don't take overpriced listing, take it, that's a business. Sometimes you have to give the seller a backward strategy. Okay, go for it, let's see. And keep in mind, if you are taking a overpriced listing, let them know how much overpriced it is. Let them know that, hey, I'm here to keep in mind what your bottom line is, and I'm going to do every strategy to make it happen. But if they are way far off, any strategy that you will do, it's not going to work. And at the end, it's going to bring the frustration. So very, very important thing when you are having those listing agreement or listing consultation, always set the expectation right. It's your business. You need to make sure that you are honest up front, and second, letting your client know what is it that they need to do or cooperate with you in order to sell the property. Very important. Now, they're talking about, again, the daily 10-4s. Always make sure that you are adding contacts in your database. Feed your database. Write notes. Make phone calls. Tour the 10 houses in a week. You need to know your inventory, your market, and your database. Majority of the time what happens is if you are on top of your database and the minute you got the listing, you know who is looking for what. And guess what? You probably be having a buyer in your pipeline to get the listing sold right away. Know your numbers. Very, very, very important. How you do it, you're not going to get to know everything in a day. Keep in mind, it's the habits that you need to build. To me, it's almost been 2 years since I've been to Bowl as of last April. I'm still doing it. I'm not 100% where we need to be, where what KW system and models and culture teach us to be. So everything takes time. Just make sure every time you do something, build a habit. Do it consistently. That's what you need to make sure that you are doing. And as I said, it might take you a year, it might take you 6 months, it might take you 2 years. To me, it's my second year, and I'm still saying that I'm getting better in what I need to be. Last year was a big hit for myself to be in the open house queen, and I got it done. Now my team will be doing it for me. This year, my more important goal is to make sure that the systems that we need to teach and put in place based on the Keller Williams culture and the education that they give us, that's what my goal is. So every time if you're starting off, especially like in listing, it's important. That is your big buck item. You have more control on the inventory, you have more control on the market, and you have the more potential to double end the deal. One way or another, it's a win-win. Keep in mind, we need the buyers as well, but make sure first you know your numbers, and second, whatever you're doing, just do it with passion. Keep in mind, it's not gonna take just like a day. Let's put it that way. If you are meeting a seller, your paycheck, it's due in 6 months. If it's sooner, great, but project yourself that in 6 months you're going to get paid. If the property is hot, you may get paid in 2 months. So realistically, if you are getting a listing today, either you're going to get paid in 2 months or in 6 months. Build your pipeline according to that. Any questions? Any comments? What are you experiencing? Anything that you want to talk about? Amy, come on, throw a question. Come on, throw a question.
I think we all know what we're supposed to do. It's just a matter of getting the motivation to get out and do it every single day on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
that's
be
where
purposeful. That's right. Be purposeful. And in the listing one, like, see how they, again, it's everything. It's very basic. Make an appointment. That is your very, 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 very first step that you can do. You cannot get a listing agreement or you cannot close on a buyer if you don't have an appointment. And your first appointment is what's going to get you to your payday. Simple. Stick with the basics. Don't fool around what's going on. Oh, I'll do all. And don't get into the fancy-dancy stuff. You don't need to. That takes more time with less results. So as they say, count down to pays first. You're going to get the leads, which we already talked about. What are the, in the previous sessions of Ignite, that what are the sources from where you can get the leads. Second, make the appointment. The minute, like we are talking about listing, so I'm just going to cover the listing part. See, they say make the appointment, and the minute you make that first appointment, you need to pre-qualify your appointment as well. But how I do is, I make 2 appointments. My first appointment, I just say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to come in, introduce myself. We're going to get to know each other a little bit and see how do you feel, and then we'll have another appointment. So first appointment, it's going to be very sweet and very informal. Actually, sorry, not informal, more like a formal professional appointment, but for a short period of time. Once you have that, that's when the very next day you will send a pre-listing package. I have it, I don't use it yet. I'm going to do it by next year. And this is the system that they're teaching you. And if you start doing it once, you got it all done. So, as I said, they only said 1 appointment. I made 2. One, as I said, a very short one, just to introduce myself and stuff like that. And then, based on them, they say send a pre-listing package. I take the package with me. I hand them to it. And I hand the package after going everything over it. My my package, it's not a pre-list package. The package that I have, it's different. Pre-list package, they realistically say, hey, send your kind of resume, send what you have sold, send the testimonials, send a little bit of information about the property, those kind of stuff. And it's good to have it. Very important. Just make like 5-6 pages or maximum 10 page of pre-listing package, and that will help. Again, build that habit of pre-listing. Now, then once you have the appointment, that's when they said you're going to get the agreement. Once agreement is signed, you're going to market the listing and everything, and then it's going to get in contract. And once you get in contract, it's going to get closed, and that's when you're going to get paid. So first thing, leads, appointments, agreements, contract, closing, and that's your payday. So we are talking about 2 to 6 months to get a payday. Build your pipeline. And build your pipeline in a way that you start off strong every month. At least you are hitting 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Start your goal with, okay, I want 1. Every month I want 1. So you need to work the numbers that way. Right? Now, very important. Then what they teach is, yes, as I said, every seller wants their bottom line, but if it's not realistic, those are not qualified sellers. Although you can take an overpriced listing, and yet what? You cannot count down on that payday. Right? Yes.
Okay, so when you are finding out how much they owe on the property and what their bottom line is, all of that, are you doing that in the first appointment? Or in the where are you doing that?
The second one. Yeah, and then the next one we're going to talk about the pre-qualifying script. So the first appointment, very informal, to the point, sweet. Just talk a little bit, get to know your clients.
Are you doing the listing agreement with that appointment?
If the first one is for, if they say, hey, you know what, Cal, we don't have, okay, I got this, say at open house, I met a seller. They want to sell it. All right, great, but the wife is not available. No, I don't want to meet a client where the decision makers are not there. Okay, How about Mr. Smith, I could just come by like 15 minutes, take a tour of your property, introduce myself, and then when your missus is there, we can schedule another appointment. To answer your question, it depends. If you got a very hot seller who wants to sell it, don't waste your time. Make an appointment, get the comparables, get the listing agreement, and get it done. If the lead is like very first time and they're like, okay, we're thinking about it, that's when you can do it. You have choice. Read your client. Analyze their needs. What exactly do they want? That's what you need to do. So, very important. You need to make sure that you're qualifying your sellers, right? If the client is not qualified, again, we are in such a small town where every listing counts, right? We cannot accept, put ourselves an exception that, hey, I'm not going to take that overpriced listing because it's 50 or 75 grand more. No, if I'm not going to take it, somebody else will take it. And if I take it, who knows, somebody's moving out of a town and they have cash and they want that house, they can afford it, they may buy it. Or the house going to stay on the market for 3 months, 6 months, 10 months, I don't know. But I know that this is a listing, this is my business, and I need it. So make sure, very important, we always need to make sure that we are in a town where everything matters. And again, if you don't take it, somebody else will take it. There are 450 agents or above in just Yuba in our road. So they have options, right? So analyze your client, their needs, urgency, timing, every factor that you have to count, every factor. Now, so they say you have to pre-qualify your seller, position you as an expert real estate professional, and win the listing. See, simple basics. That's all you need to do. The top agents, they are not like having a magic wand in their hand, or they are not born with that talent to get the listing. It's just that they are following the systems and doing it consistently is what they're doing. Right? So now talking about the pre-qualifying. First, see, you need to make sure whenever you go for a listing appointment, all the decision makers need to be there. Otherwise, it's a complete waste of time. I would say if the decision maker is not there, I still make the appointment. Hey, you know what? I know Mrs. is not home or Mr. Smith is not home. How about, Mrs. Smith, I came by, introduce myself, and we can talk a little bit and then schedule an appointment and you both are there. Would that 15 minutes worth your time? Yes, it does. Because what you did is you outperform. You take one step extra to prove yourself that you're professional. And second, you mean well to serve them. If it's usually it's husband and wife who owns the property, right? Majority, 95% of the time, the husband and wife, they make the decision. They do together make the decision. So there is only 5% chances that you may end up having a listing where the Mr. say, okay, you know what, my wife, I always do that stuff and just get the agreement signed and I'll get it signed from her. Right? Again, read your client. You don't want to miss a listing where Mr. says, I have the full authority and my wife does what I do in this department. Take care of it. Don't let it go. Right? So you need to make sure how every client or how every appointment that you have, it is going on. Right? Don't say, hey, Cal said decision makers are not going to be there, so don't go for an appointment. Ask, hey, how important it is if Mrs. could not be there, would you be in a position to sign the listing agreement on our behalf or make a decision on our behalf and I can drop those agreements and you can get it signed from her? Ask 3 deep level questions. Every situation is different, right? Then they're saying, always ask them, hey, where will you be moving to? You need to know, okay, you want to put the house on the market and 6 months later or 2 months later when we were having a contract and they don't even know where they want to go, is that their fault or your fault? Your fault you didn't ask them. You need to know, put your ducks in a row, right? Then, when do you need to move? These are the important questions. When it says it's a question like, when do you need to move? That means if they're saying that, Cal, we need to be there in 3 months. Your time frame is 3 months. You need to be aggressive enough, especially if the timing is, then ask, hey, why only 3 months? If for some reason it took us 4 months, what would it do for you? Would it be at all possible to make it happen? Analyze it. It's very, very important. At the end, as I said, if you don't know where they're moving and 2 months later, after doing all the marketing and making all the appointments and doing all the open houses and getting a contract and you don't know where your clients are moving, oh boy, be ready, you're in trouble. And the reason being, again, I'm just throwing the scenarios here and there. The reason being, what if the buyers that we got it, they have to start a job and they're moving from LA? And your clients don't even know where they're gonna move. Does that make sense? So every question, it's very basics. Keep those basics in mind and everything spins around it. Okay, when do you need to move? All the time. If there is questions, go 3 level deep. Do you have a price in mind? Every seller has that in mind. It's your job how to find it out. And if you are not asking the right question, there is no way that you could get done. At our appointment, are you planning to list with me? This is something you need to get that confidence. I never used it yet. I just want that appointment, get my foot in the door, and I know I'm going to get assigned. I don't ask it, but you are very welcome if you have it. Because that's what we need. Eventually, I'll be asking that too. And the reason behind this question that they ask is, are you planning to list with me, is that's going to give you 2 things. First, is it very urgent for them to list it that way? Or are they interviewing other agents as well? One way or another. They train you. Ask these questions. If you are at the beginning stage where you want to be and learning it, just keep it your habit. Be your own in asking these questions. The way I ask these questions, it may not be the same way Jimmy asked it. The way Rahul asked it, it may not be the same like Randy asked it. Same thing, the way Amy asked it, it might be completely different how Roxana asked it. It's the same questions. And the person that you're, interviewing, or the seller or buyer, they carry their personality too as well. So it's everything, it revolves around, you need to thoroughly understand that, how to win that listing. That's it. Keep the bottom line in mind and how to win that listing. Because we are in a town where every listing counts, right? Now, then what they tell is, okay, now the next one, pre-qualifying script. And we're going to go each question one at a time, because those are the important questions. If you know the answer to these questions before your appointment, half of your listing consultation is already done over the phone. And the very important information that you need to know, you already have it. Now, first, what we do, we have it's from Bold, the pre-qualifying script, or the page that we have for our seller. We put their name, the address, and appointments and stuff. Then we're gonna go over these 9 questions. Do you have about 5 minutes so I can ask you some very important questions before I come out to meet you? Who would say no to that if you're that polite? They would say, yeah, sure, for your questions. 0.1% of the chances that you're gonna know, I'm not gonna say it. That is it. If you already have that quick appointment where you already introduce yourself, they'll listen to you. Now it's the step, okay, the follow-up step, that's important. And usually that's where our bad is. The follow-up got cut off. Right? Second, once you meet with me and hear my great marketing plan, do you plan to list with me at that time? If not, please tell me the perfect time frame for you. Very polite question and a very strong question where it says that, do you plan to list with me? Asking for business. Every question asking for business. How did you hear about me? You need to make sure that the marketing strategy that you are doing or the money that you're investing or the activities that you're doing, what is the source that you got that business from? And if you have those sources, okay, I got from this source 5 listings in 6 months, does that source worth spending more money or investing more time or investing into more activities to get more business? Probably not. Why not? So that's important. Ask, hey, how did you hear about me? Where are you moving to? Again, very important to know. Why are you moving there? Another important, because that is what's gonna put the reverse gear if for some reason they are not realistic, that you can say, hey, you mentioned that you need to be in LA in 3 months because your kid's gonna start the school there, your job is gonna be there, and you already signed a rental agreement or a lease agreement. Would it work to talk about unrealistic price that it won't take us 3 months to sell it? So those questions, these answers are your tools that you're going to use to make sure that at the end they're realistic about the price. In that way you can sell it. 80% of the listing sells because of the price. So do you really want to take the risk of that 80%? To lose a listing, to lose a payday? No, we cannot. Right? Then how soon do you have to be there? Everything is linked. One way or another, it's linked. If we sell your home in the next 30 days, will that cause a problem for you? If yes, what would the problem be? Guess what? You just said 30 days. If it's a hot property, yes, it's going to sell in 30 days. If it's not a hot property, it may take longer. And yet what you did, you just test their motivation. How would they react if you put them in a time crunch? Moving 30 days without planning is absolutely impossible. Unless if somebody in the family is like they're having a D and then say, okay, I'll take care of it, don't worry, just get it done. Right? And those chances are rare. So when we ask for those 30 days, the question, what I sense about this question is you are creating that urgency. You're creating a time crunch where you will ask them, would you be able to perform in that time frame? What do you think, Jillian? What do you get out of this question? When you say that, okay, if we sell your home in the next 30 days, will that pose a problem for you? What would you get out of this question? And what do you think, that is it a powerful question to ask?
It is a powerful question because they can answer it in multiple different ways. They can answer in the time frame way, or they can answer in a money way. Either saying, we need this amount of money if we're going to be out that early because we need to pay for housing in between houses or something. You can get a lot out of this question.
So that means it is a very powerful question, right? Then what would happen if your home did not sell? What you get out of this question, Amy?
Well, for one, they would probably be upset because they're wanting to sell for some reason, but then it would find more motivation for price, I think.
Okay. What you get out of this, Eric?
Oh, that question?
Yes, what would happen if your home did not sell?
Yeah, I would say it's more like lighting the fire to motivate them. Say, hey, maybe your price is a little higher or whatever, and get them to come down. Because everybody, if they want to sell, they want to sell. I mean, that's the goal, and, make them relive what they told you. I want to go down this, I want to go to North Carolina, move to North Carolina, or whatever. Put that back into their brain.
Exactly. So see, all of these questions and the answer to these questions, it's gonna help you win what? Listing.
And also their trust too, because you're asking these really deep questions.
Yes.
Of maybe they talk to amongst each other, but haven't talked to anybody else.
And guess what? Nobody, if they're not trained, they're not asking these questions unless if they are seasoned agents for years. And everybody has their own way of doing the business, right? You can ask all these questions in your own way, but you have to ask, right? That is important. Then, when I meet with you, how much will you want to list your home for? So say, I know Roxana, I'm not even, shall I be here? Okay, just being a seller,
Yeah.
just be a seller, okay. But if I say, okay, when I meet with you, how much will you want to list your house for?
See, I think that makes you realize how unrealistic they are.
Okay.
If they tell you, if you know that your house is worth 200, but then I tell you 230, I'm obviously a little higher than I should be, right? So then you have to show them the comps or give them reality.
Guess what? When we ask them, they usually respond back, that's why we are calling a professional.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Majority of them, they will throw that on you. 99%. And that's proof. I always ask it. And that's what I got. Hey, that's why we are calling here.
That's good though.
Right?
You want them to see.
Yeah, see, we want to ask them those questions. And somebody say that, hey, you know what, I think we are watching the internet or going online and Zillow is saying this, or, this is what the value is, and we think our house is different because it has crown molding. Right? So, yeah, just make sure, ask, analyze. It's important. Get the appointment, don't lose the appointment. That's it. Don't lose that appointment. Tell me what is the price you will not go below. They may not tell you at the pre-qualifying phone call, and yet they recommend to ask. Because if you know, and while doing the comps, you know that, okay, this is the bottom line, I'm sure I can hit it. Even if they are trying to market the price like 30 grand more than what the other's competition is. Yes.
I would be scared they'd come back and say, well, it depends how much you charge. Like, something like that, and then you're just kind of like, well.
Okay, and here is the deal. Don't deal the objections over the phone. Just, wing it. So glad you asked that question. How about when we met at our appointment? I'll answer that for you. Never, ever go for an objection over the phone if you're confirming your appointment. Do not do that. Take their objections. This is an opportunity for you to win that listing because you know what they're going to ask. Right?
Now you know what their objection is, so you can prepare for it.
Exactly. And in bold, they educate you. Every objection that that they ask, always isolate it. Make it just one. On average, they usually ask 2 or 3. Majority of them with 1. That's it. Very rare they will take you 10. And in total, there are 8 objections. One way or another is the same. So that's important. Make sure, keep those objections and cut those objections at the end, not at the beginning. At the beginning, you need to prove them What is it that you will be doing for them so that they can value it? Don't scatter yourself with doing 10 different things at 10 different moments while you're at a listing appointment. Don't do that. On average, I mean the top agents, not here, but out there, they take care of a listing like in 30 to 45 minutes or maximum in an hour, depending on how many, but sometimes it takes longer. To me, it takes longer. I don't care, I would get that list. No, I should word it differently. Okay, I don't care if it takes me 2 hours to get that listing, and the reason being those 2 hours gonna serve the value for the 6-month agreement that I'm gonna get them signed. I never rushed my appointment. I just don't. I want them to feel that if they are trusting me, there is a reason behind it, and that's why I'm here, proving myself. Answer their question. Make sure they feel, first, very comfortable for what you're doing, and second, they see the value that you're gonna bring. And guess what? Very rare. If you do everything that they teach you, usually it's one less step in fighting for your commission. They get to 6%. Majority of the time, I don't even have a battle for the 6%, unless if it's a, the multiple opportunity where they're interviewing 3 or 5 agents. You have to use that as a competitive edge. I do lower my commission only if I see that the value of the property, like recently, one of my listing, I'm not taking 6%. I'm taking less than 5% in total, and the reason being they're in a situation that they owe more and the property doesn't worth it that much. It's not like I'm giving up my money. I'm having them realize that, hey, this is what I can do for you to make this deal happen. I don't do it on average basis. I never does it unless it's an exceptional case, and that is because we belong to a company, Keller Williams, who has that culture where family and God come first and the business is third. In your case, because of the finances and you're in the situation, I understand that you cannot even afford to pay 6%. So sometimes give up your commission where you feel it, where you sense it that, okay, you know what, they're not even making a penny out of it. How are they going to give you more than what they don't even have it? So do you really want to lose that chunk of money for $1,000 or $1,500 more? Pick your battle. Right? Then the next question that they ask, okay, how much, again, how much do you own the property? Very important. Few they are comfortable telling you, few they are not. Will you quickly describe your home for me? How would you rate your home on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest? What would make it a 10? All these questions are important. Then say, I will be sending you a packet of information. Will you take a few minutes to review it before we meet? That is what it is about the pre-listing package. Do you have any questions before we meet? Will all decision makers be there when we meet? Very important. Just so you know, our meeting will take between 30 to 60 minutes or an hour to hour and a half. Would that be okay? I look forward to meeting you on at this time, right? So now the next one is talk about the pre-listing package. So we're gonna, cover it. Contents, add a cover letter. Introduce you and your intent to satisfy their needs and list their home and confirms the appointment details. So that is something you need to make. There is a pre-listing package available on eEdge as well that you can, tweak and make it your own. Just add some of your information or, any testimonials or stuff like that. Cover page, feature your contact information. And this is all that you have on the eEdge. The pre-listing package is there. You can print it, just tweak it and make it your own. It's all about you. Points out that they are the focus of your work, their needs, dreams, concerns, questions, finances, and more. Then it talks about what I deliver. Point out the benefits they will receive from working with you. The home selling process, getting ready to list. Details how price, location, condition, competition, and timing drive home values. So this everything is ready for you. You don't need to do anything besides make it your own with your information. Or if you have a testimonial, throw some testimonials in there. It's all ready. Don't waste your time in like making it fancy. Make a habit of using it. That's what you need to do. Right? Then the home selling process, how buyers find the home they purchase. Confirming that agents and the internet sell homes. Again, it's the whole package is there. All you need to do is print it up and use it. The home selling process, marketing your property. Present the 14-point marketing plan that commits to the things you will do to get their home sold. That is what you're going to focus on when they ask you a question. Hey, you know what? How would you be doing something different than the other agents here in town? Those are bullet points, 14 points. I mean, when I was in Bay Area, there was like an agent there, he has 2-page marketing piece that he does. It works for him. So use the generic one. Make sure if you're putting in that pre-listing package, do it. Don't put it for the sake of it. And if you think that this is like, if you think that you will not be sending a postcard, take that point out. Don't put it there. So the 14-point marketing piece, that needs to be the stuff that you will be doing. As I said, if you're not going to do it, edit it. Do what you feel comfortable that you can do for them. Don't do it just for the sake of it, or it's there, let it be. No. Right? Then about the staging. If it's a vacant home, staging sells, especially in this market. Staging does sell. It costs money, but some agents, they have stuff or they just hire, affordable one and get it staged. And again, it's the seller who might be paying for it, but there might be a point where seller doesn't want to, and you see that the property really needs a staging. So sometimes you need to make those decisions by yourself. The very recent example that I would like to give on the staging part is there was a custom home on Sanborn. It was sitting on the market without staging for almost 2 months. The minute the owner spent an extra $3,000 because it's a custom home, the minute he spent $3,000 in the staging, guess what? They got an offer in 2 weeks. If a house is vacant and you feel that it needs some touch, recommend staging. Yes.
Do you think the house would have sold if it was priced right?
Pricing, no matter what, price is key.
Right, because if it's priced right in the right market, it will sell, regardless if you stage it or not, right?
Yes, that's right. Again, and guess what? And guess what? If a house is priced right, then the seller is realistic, just by staging it, he can earn more by multiples. And that's exactly what happened in one of our listings. It was a nice, cozy 3-bedroom, 1-bath home. Everything was remodeled. There was not even reason to stage it because I was very sure it's going to go. What he did is he just put a couch and lamp and throw some stuff on the kitchen and then the towels in the bath. We end up getting $10,000 more. Very important. This is what you want to see. If you see that the seller is motivated, again, this is something when you recommend, and if I'm giving all these examples to you, do you think that I give these examples to my seller? Yes, I do. Why not? So if you educate them, just saying, hey, you know what, you got a gorgeous house based on the price that we're talking about and the market that we are in, it's going to sell very fast. And yet my question to you is, would you like to sell it more than what you are asking for? Would you like to be in a position where you have multiple offers on the table and Cal is presenting you 5 net sheets to see where you are netting more? Who's going to say no to it? Yes, great, let's lightly stage the house as well. It's barely gonna cost you another $500, and I can certainly ask the stager, would it be okay if they could get paid at the close of escrow? Who's gonna ask no? 500 will earn you 5,000 or 10,000. Nobody will say no. And yet, if I would not ask him, what are the chances that the seller would say, hey, what about staging? Barely 1%. Barely. The 1% are the ones that watch HDTV all the time. They do. They do. We have a buyer that we are helping, and it's a young couple, and they're so awesome. They watch HDTV in the morning, in the afternoon, at work, on the iPhone, at night before they sleep, until they buy the house. And they're all ready. Okay, Cal, that's fine. We can do that. So my point is, think outside the box all the time. Use the tools that you have. Make it more personal. Make it the way that it's your house that you have to sell. Right? Okay, then staging we talk about, closing and beyond. It explains, how you will work with buyers, agents, and buyers and suggest services you can provide to help sellers even after their sale closes. And again, that is what we are doing as a Fred factor. Some of the points that we are discussing here, you could put in that closing package, like, the utility information. Like the factor that, hey, at the close or after the closing, your mailbox, it's gonna be, all filled up with tons of mail. It's gonna be overwhelming. Make sure you do not pay anybody anything because you do not owe it. So everything, just make it personal. Make it the fact that you are selling your own home, right? Questions, then paperwork, questions for you. So all of these contents, they're already in the pre-listing package on eEdge. Then I would highly recommend visit today. You are doing the pre-listing one. Go spend your day and just marking out what is it that you will be doing. That's it. Do it today. If you do it today, you got it down. If you don't do it today, whenever you get a moment, that's when you're going to do it. So I would say if you could just do your pre-listing package, just do it. At least take a whole glance of it. Okay, what is it that it's done, or what is it that you can tweak it and make it, more personal, right? Again, then they talk about customize your pre-listing package. About yourself, the experience, technology, expertise, communication, clients for life, rewards, personal, any charitable work, affiliations, interest, my commitment to you. So make it personal, I would say so. Then again, then the next question, it says that you need to make sure the eEdge packet, right? Make sure you go check it out today, no matter what. They call this is all about pre-listing package. Win with a great listing consultation. Okay, so the first half that we already covered, it's all about your clients pre-qualifying and getting to know what is it that you should be including in the pre-listing package. Any questions so far? Any comments so far? Anything that you guys would like to share to make sure that, okay, you know what, this is what I'm getting out of it, something different, and this is my idea, I may be doing that. Amy, I'm gonna pick you.
You're write my name down.
Yeah, your name down with that name. Okay, yeah. Any questions, any comments, anything that you see value out of it? I know you're pretty brand new yet, so were you aware about the pre-listing package and stuff
Yeah, I
like
have
that?
one set up. I've done with your eEdge, and I have one set up. But so you give this pre-listing package but you give them this listing package before you meet with them.
That's what they recommend. always drop it off. Some agents, what they do is they just like put it in a FedEx package and make it an urgent delivery for the same day.
So then when you meet with them for the appointment, you kind of go over it.
No, what I do is my pre-listing I don't have a pre-listing package yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on my pre-listing package, I'm working on my buyer's package, I'm working on all that kind of stuff. The package that I have, I use, and it's similar to pre-listing. It has my testimonials, it has their property information, it will carry the comps and everything like that. But this is recommended so that first, nobody's dropping it off, not even myself here in town. So if you are doing it as a beginners at the very end, you're building that habit, guess what? You're already beating what I'm not doing. Right? But don't worry, I'm starting to do it. So my point is, I may have a package that's not gonna be this big. I'm gonna make my own package, which is more personal. But the template is gonna be the same.
I have mine made and it's a lot shorter than what it's like 15 pages.
That's fine.
It's a lot, and so I've really cut it down and made mine more personal. So you drop that off before the first appointment, and then during the first appointment, you would kind of go over that a little bit, and then the CMA.
Guess what? When you were dropping the package off and you were confirming your appointment a day before, first, before your appointment happens, you should already have 2 touches. You already sent a pre-listing package. Just say if you send it today as a delivery or a FedEx or in a regular mail, 2 days after, just say, hey, you know what, just want to check in that the pre-listing package that I dropped in, have you received it in your mail? Great. Have you checked it out? Awesome. Do you have any questions? Great. If they give you the questions, great, because there's not going to be any questions anyways. And guess what? This is something extra that you have done. It sets you apart as a professional. You may not use the same pre-listing package. It's just something that they may be curious how long you've been in the business or what you have done in the past or, you know, anything. This is just one step ahead or some of the basic information that can save you half an hour in your appointment that they already have that. That pre-listing package, it has nothing to do with their property. Nothing. It does not carry any information. It doesn't carry the comps. It does not carry anything. All it carries is you and your professional and sets you apart. That's what it carries. Right? So if you're doing that, great. And then again, it's going to give you an extra 2 touches that you can do. Confirm that they have received it. Ask if they have any questions in the day before. When you're confirming your appointment. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I just want to make sure that our appointment is confirmed for tomorrow at 2 p.m. and I'll be there sharp at 2. Make sure you be there at 2. And then here is the deal. And this is something I'm doing, it's working for me. I know being in real estate, it's not like we don't respect the time. It's like sometimes we are in a position where, say, as I said, most of the agents may be doing the listing appointment in an hour. It took me an hour and a half to get that appointment done. Not that I'm slow, just because it's me.
More chatty.
Yeah, more chatty. Want to make sure that they got everything, right? The other thing is, I always say, hey, you know what? I have an appointment before that and I'll be there between 2 and 2:15. Guess what you did? With their permission, you just borrowed their time and you could be there at 2 o'clock or 2:05. I don't use the script, hey, our appointment is at 2 o'clock and I'm here at 2. Because I know majority of the time you do end up in a situation where it takes me longer. I don't know. I'm not talking about anybody else. It's me. If I have a listing appointment, I never make it for a time. I always say, hey, you know what? Our appointment is going to be between 4 and 4:15. I'll be there. And the reason being, I just want to be realistic. I may be sharp there at 4, but if I'm behind, you know the reason might be I'm helping somebody, you know, at that time they may ask more questions and it took me longer. I don't want to disrespect you. I never made my appointment for sharp time. So use that if that's something, or if you're a person that always be there at point, then yeah, distinguish yourself. Majority of the real estate agents have never been online. It's true. They're not. And then it's not that they not, it's just like the profession that we are in. Sometimes unexpected things come up that you have to take care of. We are not like, 8 to 5 shift, we got what we need to do and we are out of there. No, we are business people. We are dealing with people, their emotions, their time, their biggest asset of their life, which is very substantial. So set yourself, again, with the right expectation, with the right things that, you're supposed to do. Again, I would highly say, yes, go over your pre-list package, make your own. If Amy has made it for 15, make
No,
it
that's
for
what
15.
the standard is on the edge, I think it's 15 pages.
So shrink it down. I would probably
Yeah,
do
yeah.
6 or 8.
Yeah,
Max.
it's too much. It's
Yeah.
just random Keller Williams information. So
Yeah.
I took some of it on.
So drop it down to like,
Yeah.
drop it down to like 6 or 8 pages, half, cut it half. Again, do not believe in fancy dancy stuff. Believe in what you are doing different that others are not doing. Your competition is not doing, right? Now, again, they talk about, always make sure, as Eric said, every time it's all about their clients' bottom line, their needs, their motivation. So you need to analyze that in depth, right? So now they are talking about, let me get you, okay, home evaluation. Okay, evaluating the home, I'm gonna cover this topic. We agents, I don't believe that we are salesperson because I don't carry that. I never say I'm a salesperson. We have consultation approach. So make sure you distinguish yourself by consulting your sellers and their needs to the 3D level. Whether it takes you 5 minutes or it takes you 15 minutes, just do it. Right? Now, they mentioned that when you were talking, when you were asking all those pre-qualified questions, have your client talk. Don't cut them off. Have them talk. They will tell you everything. And ask the questions. Ask the questions, right? Now, evaluating the home. Now we are coming more towards the major portion of the listing, the home. What is their value? And that is where you're gonna either win or lose the listing. When I say win or lose the listing, I mean to say you will be winning that listing at that time at the right price and sell it and get your paycheck in 2 weeks. Or you will lose it just by pricing it high and do not put the expectation right that, hey, we are testing the market for this price, guess what? If it didn't sell for 2 months, 4 weeks, I usually say 4 to 6 weeks. If it doesn't sell for 4 to 6 weeks, we will be having a price reduction. Would you agree? Would that be fair? Right? You need to do that, very important. It would be very tough if you don't do that upfront at the listing agreement and come back after 2 months. By that time, they won't trust you. They were probably gonna say, hey, you know what, no, I don't think so. We tried this, it doesn't work, we don't want to sell it, or they're gonna start finding the excuses. We're not gonna win every battle, and yet we're gonna fight for it. So instead of losing that battle in 2 months, you will get their permission for 6 months just by asking and setting the expectations right. So when they talk about the home value, first important to know, okay, first ask them, what do they really like about the house? Because that's the only house in the market that everybody gonna buy. That's what they think. They think that their house is the best on the road, although if it's a subdivision, it's one of the floor model that everybody has it. Yes, upgrades does matter, but ask them, what is it that they really like? Is it the pool in the back? Or is it the covered patio? Or is it the gazebo? Or is it the family room that they like? Or is it the kitchen? What is it that they really like? Because that is what they're gonna say that it's different than anything else. Ask. Ask them. What are your 5 favorite features? Again, the reason why we are asking these questions is because that is what they're gonna always come up saying that my house is different than others. So you need to know. And if they're saying their favorite is that and this is what is distinguishing, then you can, while reading the comps, you can evaluate, hey, you know what, I know you mentioned that you have a nice covered concrete patio. Guess what? The comp priced at this price, it has that concrete patio too. Now the question is, if the buyer is there and there are 2 homes that has exact same features, and one is priced at $250 and the other one is priced at $235, which one would you take? Yeah, $235. I'm saving 15 grand just because I like patio and both the houses is patio and one is asking 15 grand, the other is not. That's the reason why you need to ask all these questions. Then, what are your 5 favorite things about this community? I usually don't ask it. So I just ask, I covered the topic for neighborhood because one of the listing that I got, she said that, I'm like, okay, what do you like about this neighborhood? How it's so safe and secure, and even if at 6 o'clock I need a cup of sugar, I can go knock on my neighbor's door. And I use that as a verbiage in my listing because that is what they mention. I don't ask for community. I usually ask, okay, what are, favorite features about the house and what do you like about the neighborhood? Because that's important. Neighborhood sells. School district sells. Price sells everything. Now, this is again a deep level. Usually we do the home about that. I don't do at the pre-listing one, but this is something that we have to do it at MLS. They're talking about what type of exterior it is, like single story, the sides, the roof, the foundation, fence, everything. You're gonna do that as an MLS. This is in Ignite. You can use it if you would like to, but if you want to build that habit, make sure you keep using it. I usually don't do it because this is not at the deep level, and whatever MLS questions that are required, you will be doing it after, once you have a listing agreement. So I don't do at this deep level. Okay, now, they say that discover and prioritize their needs. And we start off our session with that because the end, it's all about their needs, why they want to sell, right? They say that it's all about the listing consultation. It's all about making sure that you understand your seller's need, their motivation, right? And then they talk about, okay, how are you going to probe for sellers' top needs? Again, ask. Let them talk, right? Why are you moving? Same question. Do you need to sell within a certain time frame? Different way. Do you have a price in mind? In terms of your schedule, how would you like to plan for your home's showing? They are best done when the seller is not in the home. Again, setting the expectations right. What is the most important factor for you in the sale of your home? What's important to you in real estate agent? Are you staying in the area after your home sells? And sometimes, lately, when we got one of the listing and I was, asking, hey, where are you moving and what your plans are? He said, okay, you know what, I'm gonna stay in the town. Okay, so are you gonna be renting? He said, no, I may buy it. Okay, how about we check the market and see if there is something else that you could get in the market right now? All right, great, we'll do that. Guess what? We got 2 deals out of 1. Their house, and then we are helping them. So it's all about asking those questions, right? If they're moving out of town, guess what? You have another opportunity to send a referral, earn your money. on the 25% of the commission that the other agent gonna make over somewhere in Virginia or in Northern California, wherever. If you know your client and what they're looking for and what their needs are and what they're gonna do, there is money everywhere. You just need to make it, right? Now, again, they are talking about the next page, the 23rd, they're talking about how you have to, you already asked them the question at the pre-list, okay, where do you rate your house on a scale of 1 to 10? If they say, I rate it at 8, okay, what will make it 10? Great. What will make it 10 plus? Great. Ask 3 level deep questions, right? And the reason why they ask what it will make 10 plus, because if you are having a comp, then you can say, hey, this is the house with the 10 plus, and it's priced at 280. Yours is 8. Do you think that we should price it at 280? Guess what? Are you spinning their mind around already? Yes. With how? Asking those questions and linking the answers that they have. Right? So ask these questions. They're important. Again, value. Then they're talking about the value proposition and marketing plan. You need to be you. What is it that you will be doing different than nobody is doing? Or what is it that you will be doing consistent that nobody is doing? So when they talk about value proposition, you have to build one. Your value proposition, it should be one. Make your own. Right? Then marketing, again, talking about those, 14 marketing piece. Keep in mind, whatever you say, do it. If you cannot do it, don't say it, don't advertise it, don't do anything. We have good tools here at Keller Williams for the marketing, and you can, use those tools, advertising. So marketing is very important, and guess what? Everybody might be doing pretty much similar. Okay, we all agents know that we put the house into the MLS. We have no choice, right? They know it. They know this as well. If they have, sell 1 or 2 houses, they know. They're going to say, hey, the other agent's going to be doing the same thing. What is it that you're going to do? That's where you need to stand out. That's where you can see, hey, you know what? I'll be hosting open houses for you. If you're a new beginner, or I will be sending a postcard out to you, or I will be sending a letter out to the neighborhood, or I'll be marketing a special listing, online. Whatever. Whatever is it that you will be doing different, or your listing will be in KWLS where it's going to get syndicated within 24 hours at 350 sites. Distinguish yourself. Have them make sure that they see the value of the marketing that you're doing and the time that you're spending. It's important. If you don't tell them, they don't know. Because if I don't tell them that I'm doing the marketing, do they know how much time and investment and money I will be doing? No. But if I tell them, guess what? Every time I do that, hey, keep in mind, we are spending this much in just getting your listing sold. So you need to value and listen to us as well. You need to do those kind of stuff. Right? And then in the package, some of the stuff, it's more so like, practicing. I would say we are scanning, and I'm just adding some more practical touches to it. So if you have specific questions, let me know, but I would highly encourage to read these. Every session that you guys go to, you've got the material, read it. Don't just take it and sit it on the table. Read it. It's important. Now, they're talking about, very important objections, and I would love to get in there. They say, your presentation has been good, but we think we need an agent with more experience. And I'm sure being a newbie, you would probably be thinking, hey, I haven't even have a one listing. I'm gonna, beat the ones that are already, selling this many, or they're in the industry for 10 years or whatever. And guess what? Every time, keep in mind, it's all about the confidence that you're gonna show and the things that you're gonna do. That's important, right? So and I'm gonna read these because every sentence or the word that they're saying, there is a reason behind it. So you just need to practice. Scripts, objections, you're gonna come up with practice. Not just by going to one class and get done with it. If we are here taking this 2-hour class, it's just because you're gonna go practice it. If you don't practice it, you're not gonna make it. So do practice, practice, practice. Keller Williams, when it says it's good, but we use more. Keller Williams Realty is different. I'm a partner with others in my office and we share in the profits. When one makes money, it benefits the rest of us too. So I have lots of motivated agents and many years of experience working with you, for you. So that's how you could, as a newbie, distinguish yourself. Unless if you have something else, you can think about it, but use it. And we all know here we are a family. We support each other, right? So there is no doubt on that one. Not only here, every Keller Williams has it. So you can be very proud and say it loud, right? We think we will get more help with an experienced agent. Agents who have been in the business a long time have already made it. They don't keep the hours that I do. Your business is way more important to me. I can give you all the attention you deserve, and if I don't know the answer, I'm smart enough to get it for you. Is there anything other agents said they would do that for some reason I forgot to mention? Did I discover everything you expected to hear? Oh, sorry, did I cover? Sounds like you believe I can get your home sold, so let's move ahead now. Are you as excited today about your job as when you started first? I have so much enthusiasm and excitement, and I have all this experience in my office to rely on. So there are 3 different answers. Pick the one that works for you, or make your own that, maybe make a mix or a match. But you may not get that objection, but if you do, then you need to have an answer. And I would say if you're getting an objection, always isolate it. Besides that, is there anything else that you would like to ask? When you say besides that, and just say, hey, besides that you're thinking about doing an experienced agent, is there anything else that you're thinking about? Or any questions? So that guess what? Just by isolating and counting down on the objection will let them feel that, okay, you know what? He or she knows her stuff. Isolate the objection. It's just one of the tricks that helps. It's just one of the things. They ask for role, practice and role play. We don't have time, so our goal is to make sure that we cover all the material in here, right? Then the commission. We got from Ben Kinney, the commission. It says, another agent said they would charge less than that and money is tight for us. I can appreciate that there's someone who will work for less, but your agent negotiates for you. If they can't negotiate with you about their own money, how likely will they be to fight for your money when buyers make an offer? That's another powerful one. Usually, like from Ben Kinney, they say that they say, hey, you know what, the standard is 6%, I only charge 3%. Majority of the seller doesn't even know. They think that the 6% is going to come to the whole agent. I experienced in one of my other classes, one of my clients, we were asking all these questions, and then it comes to the commission part, and she's like, she asked for, think about that. She asked, I say, hey, it's only 6%. I will charge only 6%. She's like, Cal, is that what you're doing for me because I know you and Pete? Is that why you're just only charging 6%? I'm like, no, what do you mean? She said, I thought it's going to be 12%. I'm like, I'll take 8%. Because she was in the impression that it's 6% and 6%. So very important. They don't know. They do not know. Educate them. Just say, hey, mine is only 3% of all the work that I'm going to do, and I'm going to get paid when you sell your home. Right? And then you can choose whether you would like to pay them. And I usually get 6% on a listing. I'll take 3.5% because standard is 2.5% for the buyer. I'll do that. And then guess what? I use that 5% as a leeway if in case we need to reduce the price. And I can say, hey, we can reduce the commission to 5.5. Did I lose my commission? No. And what I did, I stand out myself saying that, hey, I'm contributing my commission for you. Use these tricks. They work. Right? So then okay, why won't you reduce your commission? And then again, I used to use this powerful one. Okay, you know what? If the other agent could not negotiate their commission with you, how are they going to negotiate your offer? And if that would be the case, yeah. Right? Then they say, why won't you reduce your commission? Let's say your boss comes to you and said, it's deep level. Usually they don't say that why you won't reduce it, but it is. Let's say your boss come to you and said, I want you to do the same job for less pay and you will have to work harder. Would you be motivated? No. Well, that's like me. I will need to work hard for you. That's what you want, isn't it? Again, practice these scripts. If anything clicks you, make it your own. There are every objection they give you 3 or 4 different scripts that you can use. Then you want the most money possible, right? Agents who discount their commission will offer buyer's agent less money too. You want to give the biggest incentive possible to buyer's agent. Again, it's the link that you have to make. The buyer's agent are going to be the one who will be selling your house. So we want to make sure that they got compensated right as well. You do have to, negotiate for their commission as well. If you couldn't get 3%, get at least 2.5%, right? And again, as I said, there is a exceptions that you have to make, and in that exception, just take a flat fee, split in half and half. Why should we pay our agents any more than the lowest commission we can get? Then they say, has there ever been a time when you bought something for less, thinking it was great value, only to find out it was not, and you had to replace it and spend more? Quality lost. It delivers value. Is this time like that? Is this time like that time? It is. So they ask you to role play, practice, everything. Do that. Then the next, it's talking about the online transaction on the edge. We are not using it right now. Are any of you using it? The online transaction thing on the edge? No, right. So I'm not going to cover this topic because that's not big in here yet. It might be big, down there in Austin and Texas and stuff. Yeah, big cities. We aren't using those. We're using in our own transactions. Okay. Then the next one on page number 32, they are talking about my 10 plus service agreement. This is again something if you're using it, make the habit of using it all the time. Like provide you with 10 plus customer service during the entire selling process, including taking the time to understand your wants, needs, and expertise, returning your calls and emails the same day, and being honest with you all the time. So you can make a copy of that. This is that you can download it for free from the KW University, and then you can include that as your package in your listing package. It's again another tool if you want to use it. Then it talks about, okay, how do you obtain the highest possible price for your house in the shortest amount of time, advise you on pricing and assist you with staging your home, implement a 14-point marketing plan, coordinate the home showing process, present all offers in person and advise you on the terms and contingencies, negotiate offers on your behalf, schedule and coordinate completion of contingencies and inspections, monitor the buyer's loan process, coordinate and supervise the preparation of the closing documents. So this is exactly what will be happening from the day you will get in contract till the day you close. So you can easily download it and maybe have them, keep it with them and then do the checklist when it's all done, because it's one thing at a time. When you got the listing agreement, when you market it, when you have a schedule and showing, when you got in contract, when you have inspections. So this is something that you can use. Now, The next one, the next page that they're talking about, the closing is, remember how we talked about you need to know how much they owe on the property and what they want to get out of the property. What is it that they will not sell it below the price, or they cannot afford to sell? What's their bottom line? So based on that, if you have that information, what you can do is you can maybe print a net proceeds, an estimated net proceeds, because numbers always talk. All you need to do is the net sheet that you're going to present, it's going to have, the basic fees and everything included in it. At the end, if they talk about, okay, we want to do it at 250, or we want to do it at 235, or we want to do it at 200, then you can have 3 different net sheets saying, hey, if we do it this, you will be netting 10 grand. If we do it 235, you will be netting 20 grand. If we do it 250, you will be netting 30 grand or 35 grand. So this net sheet, as long as if you know what they would like to sell it for, how much they owe on it, and what is it that they won't go below, then those are the 3 net sheets that you can have in your listing package as well, where you can do that. Like say instance, there is an example in there that they put the estimated sales price, they put the first mortgage, they put the second mortgage, and they total the mortgage, and then what they did is everything it has been break down. How many have you seen the net sheets? Okay, Julian does. Roxana, you must have.
Yeah, you have them?
Yes, right? Amy?
Yeah, I get it.
Go
And
ahead.
we're right across the way at 10:30, so.
Okay.
Pretty good, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. Okay, Amy, you have seen a net sheet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Randy, have you?
Not in a few years.
When you bought or sold your home then, right? Okay. So Raul, you haven't seen any net sheet yet, right? No. Okay, I didn't.
Leo.
I'm sorry?
Leo.
Leo. All right, you have not either, right? Okay. So I would say check a net sheet. The reason why I said that, because from net sheet, it's going to give you an idea what are the standard fees that gonna stay in there. So when you were talking about the numbers, you know that if they're talking about netting this gross, like gross, out of the sale, it's gonna be this, you can say, hey, you know what, out of that, $2,000 is gonna be the standard one that you need to like, title and escrow like 200 to 250K, it's like close to 2,200. It's, close to 2,000. It's 1,100 some for the title, and for the escrow, it's like 700
If
something.
you guys take the card, Janelle will actually send you from a net sheet calculator.
Mhm.
And then you can just put all of the stuff and it'll break down everything for you.
Yeah. So that's a
They'll do
powerful
it for
tool.
you, too, right? If you call them up and say, hey, can you put this together?
Yeah.
Or go online and there's thing, they can do that. So it's very important to practice at least the net sheets. And then here, what they do, and then in the net sheets, the big bulk items are the closing credit and the title, escrow, and transfer. Those are the big bulk items. The recording, the tie-in fee, the notary fee, those are like, close to $200-300 here and there. As long as you know that, okay, seller, first thing is the big expense for the seller is the commission. In California, it's the seller who pays for the commission, so no choice, right? That's big buck. Now, we are in the market where the closing credit for the loan is negotiable. You still have to factor that in. Some buyers, they are in a position that they cannot qualify for a loan, and Roxana can explain you more on that, that they need to have the closing credit, otherwise their loan couldn't get done. So in that scenario, you can educate your clients saying that, hey, either they will not be asking for a closing credit. If they do, it could be anywhere from 2 to 3%. So 2 things can happen. if they're asking for 2 to 3%, we can have them bump the price. Or we can, right now, if you're talking about listing this much, keep in mind this portion is negotiable. You may not net this much. So you need to know your numbers very, very well. If you're going for a listing appointment, first keep in mind what the value of the house is. You need to know. If I'm going for an appointment, I know this house, it's gonna be, listed for this much. Then the question came in, when you start doing all those, questionnaire and consultation, and if they owe more or if their expectations are more, then you have to tweak it up. And yet all the time in my mind, I know the property, if we priced it at this price, it's gonna sell. So if they're 20 grand off, you already tell them, okay, we can test the market 20,000 more than what your competition is selling, and yet if it couldn't sell in 4 to 6 weeks, we are having a price reduction. Would you agree, or you have any questions about it right now? Few agents, they already got the price reduction signed at the listing agreement. I'm not comfortable with that. I know they will not be signing it. And yet I know if I have that conversation with them, it's every week when I'm giving them an update, I'm telling them it's almost 1 week. We are having this much activity. Let's see how the next 4 weeks come up. If we receive an offer, great. If not, then we already talk about price reduction, right? So you need to. And again, if you're comfortable getting the price reduction in the agreement, go get it signed. Rick may getting it signed, I don't know. But everybody is different. It's your own style, how you want to get the stuff done. At the end, it's about how you're going to get paid. Right? It's you who needs to generate your paycheck, whether you generate 1 or 10. Right? And Leo, you just very recently joined?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we'll probably ask a little bit about yourself because I didn't know you yet. Okay. So again, if you are a newbie, I know Rahul, you've been going through all the transactions. Expect yourself like anywhere from 3 to 6 months. You may be busy in real estate, doing the activities, getting to know this stuff, what to do. But don't limit yourself that you will not be closing a deal. You may be closing a deal in your second month. The reason why I bring that up is don't get frustrated if you could not receive a check in 3 months or 4 months. Because every transaction takes 3 months from the day you start. And if it takes you 2 weeks to 4 weeks to find a home for your buyer, and then after you got in contract, it's a 30-day contract or 45-day contract, we're already talking about 3 months. So if you're working with a buyer right now, 3 months is the minimum that you're going to get paycheck unless if it's a cash buyer. Make sure you set the expectation right. Real estate is the profession where you can make lots of money. And it's like every job or every business. If you don't have those system or structure or motivation that you don't want to do it, then you may not make what you have expected. Don't live in the fantasy world. Be realistic. Think, talk, and live with your numbers. And again, for me, it works because I perform. On my numbers, it's Pete who keeps me accountable all the time. Right? And I give him full credit. So vice versa. He will give me the credit because he knows if this task list is for Cal, she's going to do it. So maybe you could find an accountability partner that can help you or a coach that can help you. But the end is you need to find a way how you will earn your paycheck. Doesn't matter how you do it, you need to do it. So listing, again, talking about listing, we talk about few nuggets. So net sheet is one of the nuggets. You can set the expectation right here, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. If the house is for 300K, obviously you're paying 6% commission, which is taking $18,000 right off the bat. You owe 200K on the property. That means we are talking about 228 right now. On top, now we are in a market where is more, normal market, and yet the closing credit is negotiable. We may end up in a position where it's a buyer who needs the closing credit, and that is on standard 3%. So that means we are talking about another 9 grand there. So 218 plus 9, it's almost 228, 228 there. And then just say, hey, you know what, normal recording fee, escrow fee, so just keep a cushy room of 2 to 3 grand, or maximum say 5 grand with any unexpected thing. So we are talking about, you may end up net, after all the costs, you may end up getting anywhere from 70 to 75 or 60 to 75. I always give them a range. Don't point it out that you will be netting 75 grand now. You will be netting, and that's why it's important. This is what you will be netting out of it, right? It says estimated net proceeds 128,788. It gives the exact, but guess what? An estimated is there. So I would say instead of estimated, give them a range. Just say, hey, I just put this net sheet so that, it's going to be more specific when we're going to get a contract, and it depends on when we close, because the interest and the mortgage and everything got changed, right? So make sure you give them a good estimate on an average. In that way they can, and sometimes that's another thing. When we got in contract, I always tell them, hey, remember how we talked about that we will be netting anywhere from 65 to 75? We are netting 70 grand, so we are pretty much in our expectation range. What if I would have said, hey, you will be netting 75 and now I'm coming back at 70? I didn't expect it right. I just create a fantasy world for them. Okay, I'll be getting that for you because I have my magic wand. Right? So again, it's all about how you do the things. Do the things right and in your own way. So again, use the estimated check sheet. It's a good tool to use. And then now it's talking about the listing presentation. I would highly recommend that if you don't have the bold listing presentation, use it. Have it. Make it your own. I have it, but I don't use the exact way it is. I use the template of it. This is how I'm going to structure myself. Right? Have you been to any listing appointment yet?
A couple.
A couple. So what do you learn out of those listing appointments? So say if you have to go, just give me I'll say, hey, Cal, I will do this, I will do that, and I'll do this. What would you say if you are going for a listing appointment by yourself? How you would take it?
Well, I've gone with Rick, so he does it very informally. It seems like a more get to know each other kind of thing, and but it's kind of like the same thing. It's just going over those items that are in the listing packet.
Okay. And Sandy, Eric?
Not yet.
Not yet, right? Okay, Jillian, have you been to any listing appointment yet? Okay. So, yeah, the basic, again, it's very first thing, make sure you keep your client's motivation and their needs in mind. Second, you need to be very professional. Third, as they said, if you follow those rules, pre-qualify your seller. Don't waste your time if they're not qualified. And when I say they're not qualified, that means they want to sell it, but they are in a position, and I'm just, again, making another example here, that they are in a position where they're going through divorce, and you're dealing with the wife or the husband. It's a waste of time. Absolute waste of time, especially in a divorce situation. Do not go to a listing agreement if it's without both the decision makers, if it is a divorce situation. And okay, we just deal with one, and fortunately, again, the habit was the decision makers need to be there. The wife was okay, she goes with the flow, and now we're dealing with another divorce situation where the attorneys are already involved, and you have to present it. They want their own. The husband gave the wife to get their own attorney, real estate agent. She did not for like a month, and now the husband is the one who's paying for all the mortgage. We are consulting him, and he's at a point where we end up sending the listing agreement to the attorney, to his attorney, so that his attorney can present to hers. So every situation is different. Divorce situation, very delicate situation. So make sure you deal it diligently. And even on a basic, just make sure you always have the decision makers, because that's important. Very important. And then at the end, it talks about comparables. It's a different class. So you need to make sure in your listing, when you're going for a listing, you do have the comparables. As a matter of fact, you should have a value of the property in your mind. And then work it around that. Analyze their motivation. Analyze their need, why they want to sell it. Make sure you're giving the value why they should hire you. Those are the basic things. You need to do it. And at the end, it's objection. And if you're going for a listing appointment, you need to be a very hardcore closer to get that listing agreement signed on your first appointment. If they say they already have multiples, as a matter of fact, in the board, they do educate you. If you are going on a listing appointment, ask them, hey, are you interviewing any other agents, or me be the only one? Or maybe the lucky one, or make it your own, whatever you want to do it. But ask this question. And if they say, hey, you know what, we are interviewing other agents as well, okay, then ask 3-level D. How many have you interviewed yet? How many have you interviewed? They say no. How many are you planning to interview? 3. Are you interviewing everybody at the same time? Yes. Or on a different day? Either or. You need to know your competition. And then there is a script. If there is a multiple, I've been in a situation where there were maximum like 3 to 4. And then we are feeling that very few sellers, they will sign the listing agreement right away if you're not the last one. Sometimes, and again, it's a risk. If you want to be the first one, I prefer to be the last one, if not the first one. Okay, somebody's hungry. So again, if somebody is very like dominating in D, they may close at the first one. But what we are feeling in this small town, if those sellers are already planning to interview 3, they're gonna interview 3. They're gonna. You cannot resist them.
So
Yes.
if you're the first one, then how do you convince them that you are the only one?
Here is
I mean, that's it, because we want to be the one.
And here is the deal. Based on the experience that we have, majority of the sellers, they don't interview multiple agents.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that do, they interview all. So to answer your question, if I would be the first one, I first will be aware that there are other agents that are interviewing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I will be pre-qualifying or making that appointment, I'll be asking them the question, hey, would you be signing the listing agreement on the same day with the agent that, clicks or gives you the more value? Or are you be planning to interview all 3 and then make the decision? You need to ask. You can't assume or judge, right? So if they say, hey, you know what, we'll be planning, here is the deal and the trick. If they say, hey, we'll be planning to interview, because since the 3 appointments are scheduled at the same day, I guarantee you, if they have scheduled 3 appointments on the same day, they're going to go through all. They will not cancel the appointment because it's their home and the asset that they're selling to get the big buck out of it. And it depends on the seller as well, whether they're realistic or not. If somebody goofed them around that, hey, we'll be netting 25 or 30 grand, and I said 15 grand, chances are they would probably be going with that unless I show them why it is that they will not be getting 25 or 15 grand out of it.
Mm.
So again, don't assume everything. You have to evaluate, validate, and analyze the situation. If they say, hey, we'll be making whosoever gonna give us the, more net or value, we're gonna go with them. Very rare. Very, very rare. On average, in here, the sellers, they barely interview more than 3. And the percentage, I would say, if I got an interview at 10 listing appointments, out of those, only 2 are the one who would like to interview 3. Usually you are the first one. They say, hey, we haven't contacted anyone. We called you, you schedule an appointment, and that's it. And then if they see the value, and if we do the numbers and everything right, they take it. So I would say just make sure you be smart and thoroughly analyze it. That's how you're gonna win your listing. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. So this topic, then I think there's a comp one that you need to do, and objections and scripts for the listing. So today we just covered the consultation factor. And again, the pre-listing packet, I would say yes, use it. That would probably gonna give you some value. All right, dear. You're welcome. Anytime.
I know, right? Where to begin?
Oh, yeah. Start Monday. It's Monday.
Today's Monday.
It's Monday.
You're up now.
Oh, no, she just left. But she's just around the